What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog. Got another FNM Historic Brawl list for you guys. This one we're in Jund colors. I had so much fun with the Historic Value Brawl list the other day. It was kind of started as a Hapatra Scorpion God list, kind of a -1/-1 counters that we got from Amonkhet Remastered. And just kind of took that value idea with just a little bit of that -1/-1 counter synergy. And just kind of threw this together, played this a little bit, and seems pretty reasonable. So we're using our commander as Darigaaz, because it gives us access to Jund colors. And, you know, if we need it, it's just a 7/7 flying trample haste as a kind of a top end. So we're not really too worried about casting this, but it is kind of a nice way to maybe close out the game. Since a lot of our creatures are a little understated, underpowered, since they come with -1 and -1 counters. A lot of them, but we're also supplementing that with some other kind of value creatures as well. So Ozolith is kind of a cheeky little thing we can do with where one of our creatures dies, we get -1/-1 counters on the Ozolith, and then we can transfer those -1 counters to a creature on our opponent's side, because at the beginning of the combat, if Ozolith has counters on it, we can move all those counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. It just says target creature, doesn't care if it's your own or it's your opponent's. And of course, we have ways of putting -1/-1 counters on our opponent's creatures as well. So we're going to try to play around with that a little bit when we can. So for some removal, we got Cast Down, Eliminate, Abrade. We also have Exemplar of Strength for the -1/-1 counter synergy. Paradise Druid, since we are 3 colors, gives us a nice ramp and fixing. Scavenging Ooze, just a kind of a nice value, especially if we're putting +1 counters on this. And then maybe we just want to put the -1 counters on the Ooze and kind of counteract that a little bit, so it kind of balances itself out. Stormfist Crusader just for the kind of the card value, drawing cards every turn. Assassin's Trophy just for some utility removal. Chevill works really well in a Jund list since we are trying to kill a lot of things. Baleful Ammit, -1 counter when it comes into play. Cartouche of Ambition, we'll put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. And enchanted creature has +1/+1 and lifelink, so it's decent for 3 mana. Lethal Sting, put a -1 counter on a creature you control to destroy target creature. Nest of Scarabs, anytime you put -1/-1 counters on creatures, you get that many 1/1 insect creature tokens. You can kind of go wide or just use them as fodder for your -1 tokens and things like that. Splendid Agony, to put -1/-1 counters on 1 or 2 target creatures. Grim Tutor, tutor up anything we need. Subira is a 2/3, it makes our Hapatra and some other creatures unblockable, especially if they come with a -1 counter, maybe they have power 2 or less. We make it unblockable. And she's a way to kind of refill in the late game, paying 2 to tap it and discard to refill our hand. Defiant Greatmaw is a 4/5. It comes out with 2 -1/-1 counters, and it has this nice little trick where whenever you put counters on the Greatmaw, you remove counters from other creatures you control. Ornery Kudu is a 3/4. It comes with a -1/-1 counter. Obelisk Spider is a 1/4 with reach, and whenever it deals damage to a creature, put a -1/-1 counter on that creature. And whenever -1 counters are put on a creature, each opponent loses 1 and you gain 1. So that's pretty sweet. Price of Fame, just kind of a nice removal here. Soulstinger is a 4/5, enters with 2 -1/- counters on a creature you control. And when it dies, you can move -1 counters on it from another target creature. Ravenous Chupacabra, just a nice 2/2 that comes in and kills a creature on opponent's side. A Cruel War steals creatures on our opponent's side, then forces them to attack in. And then it kind of has a little bit of a one-sided board wipe here with its 3rd saga. However, we're putting -1 counters on the creatures we control. Well, if we gain control of our opponent's creature, before we give it back, we can just, dump some -1/-1 counters on it, and if it's still alive, well, sure, you can have it back. Crocodile of the Crasling has a 5/4 with haste, and it comes down with a -1/-1 counter on a creature you control. Garrick helps us out with all these -1 counters on our creatures by giving them +3/+3 and trample. Quest and Beast, just kind of a nice value piece. Polukranos, kind of the same thing. 6/6 comes with a bunch of counters it can fight, so don't necessarily mind putting -1 counters on Polukranos necessarily, because we can always escape it later on. Veraska, just a nice value piece here for removal and card advantage. Cavalier and Glorybringer give us some nice removal here. Cavalier, we can sack one of our 1/1 tokens we got off Nest of Scarabs, or 1/1 snake off Hapatra. Sacrifice that without really losing anything, and then kill something on our opponent's side. And then Cavalier of Night dies. We can get back our Hapatra, our Chevill, our Obelisk Spider, any of our 1, 2, or 3 drops. Well, we don't have any 1 drops except Ozolith, of course, but it's not really anything we can get back Cavalier, but you get the idea. Glorybringer is a 4/4 flying haste. We can exert it to deal 4 damage to non-dragon creature an opponent controls. So possible somebody's running like some kind of a Sarkhan mono red dragons or even Grixis dragons, but it's not likely. So Glorybringer should be pretty sweet. Elder Gargaroth, just a nice kind of value piece here. 6/6 for 5 mana, of course, and do all the things. Scorpion God, 6/5. Whenever It dies, it comes back to our hand, and whenever a creature with a -1/-1 counter on it dies, we get to draw a card, and we can activate it 3 mana to put a -1 counter on another target creature. So a nice way to put counters on a creature like as they're going to die, just to get some card draw. And then Vraska here at our top end, being able to kill artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and make 2/2 pirates is pretty fantastic. And then obviously the -10, making a target player's life total become 1, is pretty fantastic with Subira. So that's a nice little bit of synergy there. Mana base here, a little bit of everything, lots of dual lands. Since we want all the fixing with our 3 colors, you know, we have some double green, we have you know, black red and black green here on turn 2. So we want to be as flexible as possible. So we're in quite a few dual lands, which you can see in the description or the link. So that's it. We'll jump into some matches, see how it goes. Alright, being Slimefoot. Sweet. Get some Golgari Saplings. I mean, Chupacabra's never bad, but we can't put -1 counters on creatures if we don't have any creatures. I think we'll take the mulligan here. I don't know how many times that happens. You mulligan something away and it ends up back in your hand anyway. Obviously it's not impossible, but it's pretty unlikely to happen consistently. And there's our Ravenous Chupacabra. Alright, well, we'll just play the Tomb. Not any rush to get this Ozolith down. Also are running a copy of Karn's Bastion here. Another cheeky way to put additional counters on things. We start putting -1 counters on our opponent's creatures. I'm going to go for the Slimefoot. Just play the Greatmaw. So they have a 2/3 and we have a 2/3. Alright, obviously just looking for lands here. We just have the Ornery Kudu next turn, if nothing else. Deathbloom Thallid. Oh, and they're going to sack it, kill our Greatmaw. When it dies, they get a 1/1, and now they get attack for 2. Not sure it was entirely worth it, but I mean, the Greatmaw is a decent creature. Well, there you go, Slimefoot. You get 2 -1/-1 counters for your trouble of killing one of my creatures. So yeah, definitely need some lands here. Nice thing with the Crow Noir, if your opponent's commander is a creature, you can always steal that, and that'll really throw them off their game a little bit. Doomed Necromancer. That's interesting. Well, there's a land. 2 colorless lands is not ideal. So they can sack this to return a creature card. Don't have anything great to come back. Do we care if they get their 3/2? It's annoying, but yeah, not too worried about it. We'll attack. If they want to double block and kill it, get another counter on the Ozolith. Yep, you get your trigger. So Slimefoot says when a sapling dies, deals 1 damage to each opponent and you gain 1 life. That's for each sapling, so obviously when you make tokens and things like that, you can get pretty out of control. Erebos is interesting in a token strategy. Not sure I entirely agree with that. So kind of want to keep them off Devotion here. So maybe we go after the Necromancer. You get to draw a card. If they want to pay 2 life when they're 26 and Slimefoot, obviously you can gain them life, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't. They have 2 mana open, so they must have something here to maybe respond with. Maybe they have Assassin's Trophy or Cast Down, Eliminate, any number of 2 mana removal spells they could have. They're just going to sack their Slimefoot, so they can clear the counter, put it back in their command zone, play it next turn. Sure. So it gets -2, -1 until end of turn. Is that what it does? I never use Erebos' ability. And we'll swing 2. Opponent saying oops. Oh, I'll disable that. Are you saying oops just because you're being a jerk? Did you actually think I made a misplay there? Let's keep him off devotion. You're at 14. You have empty board. Have the reclamation to pay life and get some creatures back. We're stuck on lands, but we're still making things happen. Next turn, Crocodile at the crossing, put a -1 counter on the Slimefoot, and crash in. Looking for an opportunity to play Chevill, but don't really want to force it too much. Rain Omnipotence. I mean, they've shown 0 sapling synergies. Well, let's go to the... Let's go to Chevill. Creatures, do you want to give them back Slimefoot? I guess they can have Slimefoot back. And the Chupacabra. Anything else, opponent? I think that hurt you more than it hurt me. We'll just put on it, so then now they're forced to block and they can't double block and kill anything. I want to pay some life. I do like Frame Omnipotence. I'm not really sure how reliable it is. I mean, sure, you can go wide with a bunch of tokens, but if you do, then you're probably just winning anyway. And they have the City's Blessing, so they're going to make a bunch of tokens. Love to get a removal or a land for this Garrick. We have Scorpion Guy, which is tempting, but I think we'll just Garrick here. Give something trample, and don't think they can really do much. They have a card in hand, so maybe they can. Just maybe. They don't have good blocks here. I think with Trample, it might actually just have lethal, unless their last card is a removal spell. Well, I guess they could also block, and then sack a creature to do the -2/-1 thing. I'm not sure they realize we have Trample, though. So we're trampling through for 5. Then they give -2 to something. So they're not... actually, yeah, if they're at 3. Don't think there's anything they can do. I did the best I could, but just come up a little bit short. We got them just in time. Obviously, Tendershoot Giant is pretty insane in the list. Oh, Bonte's pretty nice. Get maybe sack some sapling, draw some cards maybe, or lands. Fiend Artisan is interesting. Looks like they got some kind of a, almost like a graveyard, sort of a sub theme here. Huh. Be curious to see the rest of the list, but yeah, saplings are pretty sweet. All right, up against Elenda the Dusk Rose. Hand seems pretty solid. Elenda here is a 4-mana 1/1 lifelinker. I guess we'll Temple of Malice. I'm not gonna say no to Hapatra. I mean, she's kind of one of the favorites. 4-mana lifelinker 1/1. Whenever a creature dies, you got to put a counter on her. Now, what do we want to do here? Stormfist. I think we want a Stormfist. If they want to kill it, so be it. We have the Ooze and the Druid, plus Hapatra. Alright, drawing a million cards. Alright, so we'll Druid here. Play Temple. Probably all the move we can get, so we'll keep it. And Menace damage for 2. So obviously they're going to have lifelink with vampires. How much and how quickly though, we'll see. Let's see, we pay 3 life. or give them a 2/1. Let's see. Decline is okay. We'll pay the 3 life for the Immortal Sun. That's pretty nasty card. Sure. It's 2/1. When it dies, they get a 1/1 life thinker, so don't want that. Not sure firing off the sword point was a great plan there, since I had a discard, but what do I know? Rootbound, yep, Overgrown Tomb, so we can play it untapped, and we'll just play a couple 2-drops here. Obviously, their vampires are in Orzhov, so they could have a board clear here, which would kind of suck. We have Darigaaz that can also kind of come in here pretty soon, since we are up to 6 lands. 4 in play, 2 in hand, so we should be able to curve out to Darigaaz if we just kind of need that to push across the last couple of points of damage. So far they just have an artifact in their graveyard, no creatures. They want to destroy that with Walk the Plank. Bold inclusion for removal. The opponent is running Merfolk, which is entirely possible, then just kind of a dead draw. Alright, Command Tower. Alright, let's Obelisk Spider. We'll attack. If they want to kill it, that's fine. We've drawn enough cards. Sure. So they lose both their creatures, and they get a 1/1 with lifelink. And next turn we actually Darigaaz if we don't lose our Paradise Druid here. They could obviously use spot removal on it, but with a Spider and a Hapatra, I'm not sure they do. I don't have the City's Blessing, but Darigaaz does have Trample anyway. And Garruk is pretty sweet. Which is Darigaaz. Just swing 7 for now. And we don't have too much to follow up with if they have a board clear, but we can play Garruk and just make a creature token. We also have a Castle Lockthwain now in play, so we can start drawing cards. It's possible our opponent is just dead next turn. If they just play some creatures here, they need some flyers to block this Darigaaz to prevent damage. They're pretty close to City's Blessing to make the Sky Marcher flying. But even though with all those cards we gave them with Stormfist Crusader, they are not able to find an answer. Taking down vampires. Alright, up against Narset. So some good old Jeskai control, I would assume. I guess we'll keep it. I mean, Polukranos is pretty good against removal heavy decks, so is Scorpion God. If they do happen to play a creature, then we have the Crown War. It's possible it's something else. Probably just looking for lands here. Sure. The Cemetery because it come in tapped. And next turn we can Ammit. Enigma Drake. Okay, so maybe they're doing something a little bit different. So if they're running Drakes, then we could steal one with the Crown War and smash them with a big old Crackling Drake at some point. There's one to +1. Alright, so I'm going to gain some life. Opt. And they keep it on top. Well, they can't kill our Ammit. Huh. We'll keep this Narset in check. Gain some life. This will Polukranos. Probably Scorpion God next turn. And then following turn we can maybe a Crone War and a Hapatra, depending on what they have in play. It could be running like Niv Mizzet if they're doing Enigma Drake and things like that. So that could be pretty sweet with the Crone War. Narset gives them lots of removal though. Okay, all our creatures are tapped and will not untap.
To open the mind, you must first open the heart.
Guess that makes sense. So if you're running things like Narset. Just Obelisk Spider so they can't just keep swinging in through the air. Anyway, Drake could get pretty big here if they chain a few spells together. Or maybe Scorpion God would have still just been better there. A little bit hurting for colored lands here. So don't have much in the way of removal. Okay, they're virtually tapped out. Get an Opt again. Enigma Drake not looking very scary. Seems like a bit of a waste to put it under. They're just going to keep it back on defense. Healy. Oh, they're tapped out, so they can't make any more tokens off of it. Let's scry first. Probably don't want that. We can pay 3 mana to fight. Get rid of this Enigma Drake. Polukranos comes a 4/4. We can Crone War steal it. Kill both their planeswalkers. That seems pretty reasonable. I don't love stealing an Enigma Drake here, but this can kill Saheeli. These can take out Narset, and that'll reset their board. They don't get all that free value anymore. I could tap out and play Narset again, but I guess they're done. Their value train has come to a halt. All right, against Omnath. Missing green mana, but if we do, this could be pretty sweet. We have the temple. I'm gonna try it. These elemental lists could certainly get out of control. So if they have a good start, then it just doesn't really matter too much what we keep. We'll still lead with temple, and then we'll shock in. Just looking for green sources. So we have the Stormfist Crusader. So those. Probably our next best draw to a green mana source. Hopefully this Crusader sticks around. Could be running some removal. Missing green mana so far. Chandra's Spitfire. Seems pretty cute. We could tap out just to play a Nest of Scarabs, I guess. And then Fatal Passage next turn to get a green source. And then we have a couple options. Not sure I understand Spitfire. I mean, it isn't elemental, but without a bunch of burn effects, it's pretty unimpressive. Temple of Malady. We'll save that. I want to play something this turn, so we'll go ahead and crack the Fatal Passage. Grab a Forest. We'll attack first. I think we... Greatmaw. Get a couple 1/1s. Alright, got a pretty decent board state here. But opponent could have like Storm's Wrath or Flame Sweeps. Maybe that's what the Spitfire is all about. But we have some nice tools to come back from that. Alright, Omnath comes down, it can pick off our Crusader if they don't want to draw cards. They have a million cards in hand, so sure. So in that case, we probably just a Crow War their Omnath. Unless we draw untapped land, then we can Glorybringer. It is an untapped land, thanks to Blood Crypt. So yeah, let's attack and exert. Alright, and we have the Crown War for any follow-ups if they have some bigger plays, or if they just recast it. Let's see, they're at 5, so if they do find a untapped land, they could just replay Omnath. If they want to tap out for that, then we'll just a Crown War. Alternatively, we find a green source untapped who could Kudu plus trophy, but no, they just play Azusa. They do have a land. And a Cloud Concealer, so they're just going to kind of try to go wide here a little bit. You've been aggressive before, now you don't slow down now, opponent. Come on. Alright. We can only do... We could hold up in Trophy and Lethal Sting something here. I'll target you. Or wait. Alright, target you. Put a -1 counter there. There we go. That's how that works. Alright, so we still have Trophy open. We'll swing both. Just blocking 1/1 with Azusa, sure. Taking 2. Subira. Do we want Subira in this spot? 2/3 haste. Can make something unblockable. We have Glorybringer on the board. I think we keep it. Alright, so if they just tap out for Omnath, we Trophy on their end step. And Trophy can kind of take out whatever here as well. They could Field Reveal now that we kept it on top as well. That would be something they can do. Perhaps not the most efficient use of mana, but if they have a cheaper spell, they could certainly try for that route. Fetch another green source instead of just stuck on the one Castle Garen Brig. We got their biggest threat with the Spitfire. Thinks they put the counter on it. I don't imagine they have too many ways to actually get like that Cavalcade value off of it. Trailblazer. Also, we are just 1 away from. Let's see, when it attacks, they can get an Elemental back. Let's go and kill that now. Blue mana open, they could have a counterspell. Narset's Reversal. That's pretty insane. We do get a land though. I'm not going to complain about that. We're going to hit you with Darigaaz. Do you want that? Narset's Reversal is pretty cheeky. Go ahead, opponent, get aggressive. I mean, they're dead anyway. We have Glorybringer that can exert. And kill this. And they now do not have a way to block our flyers. Alright, taking down Teamer Elementals. Feels good. Feels good. Alright, so Jund, obviously you have lots of different options you can go with this. Personally, I love the idea of Hapatra, Scorpion God. Definitely something I want to continue playing around with. Obviously your Jund commanders are pretty limited, but Darigaaz puts in a ton of work. Especially it's nice because we're not doing some like Just big beefy dudes, which certainly could be another option you could do with Darigaaz. But you know, you're kind of doing all these kind of value plays to kind of keep your opponent distracted and things like that. And then all of a sudden you just drop a Darigaaz out of nowhere. And obviously with Glorybringer, that was pretty insane. Blowing up their boards that couldn't block, and then we just got through for a ton of damage in the air. And just enough Planeswalkers here to get some value. And using these creatures for removal with like Cavalier of Night, Glorybringer, Ravenous Chupacabra. Obviously some of these -1 counter spells aren't the best, but it is super fun. And if you kind of if you build around it the right way with kind of getting value elsewhere to kind of help you make up for that. Obviously the Crone War was pretty cool. I think it's a really underrated card, especially in this format like Brawl. Maybe it's not the most competitive card for just regular standard or historic, but certainly something I enjoy playing with in those formats. And I think in Brawl it definitely has a chance to shine because you can steal your opponent's commander or whatever their big splashy creature is. So that's pretty sweet. And yeah, Jund colors have, like I said, just lots of different options you can go with this. Found this synergy to work pretty well with some of the just enough of the -1/-1 counter stuff going on to kind of make some tokens and kind of go wide a little bit with like Nest of Scarabs or Hapatra. Well, obviously it's hard to get Hapatra through for damage to get snake tokens, but you know you can do it with that with like Subira, or if your opponent's distracted with some of the other creatures that you're playing. And they don't block her for some reason, then yeah, you can start getting some value off of her that way. And just enough removal here with like Polukranos, fighting creatures, Vraska, of course, killing things, and you know, just some of the other efficient removal spells with Assassin's Trophy, Cast Down, Eliminate, and Price of Fame. Definitely do not overlook this card. It's great in this format. And, you know, some decent top end here with the Vraska and Scorpion God as well. And just lots of different value plays with Gargaroth, Questing Beast. But yeah, you can totally just do away with the -1 synergy and just run some value with Questing Beast, Glorybringer, Gargaroth, some of the powerful Planeswalkers, the best removal spells, and probably have a little bit more of a consistent game. For me, I just wanted to play something a little more that I think is fun. And I personally love cards like Hapatra. And even Scorpion God was something I tried to make work back when it was in Standard, but it was, of course, just completely overshadowed by things like Scarab God, and just wasn't quite good enough. You know, the drawing a card just for, you know, the setup to draw cards is can be a little tricky, and otherwise just being a 6/5 without tons of value attached to it, you know, but it is still a 6/5 that, you know, even when it dies, it goes back to your hand at least. So it can be very difficult for your opponent to get rid of, especially if the game drags on. You're going to get lots of value off it that way. And that's kind of what we're trying to do a little bit here. Just kind of grind our opponent down and kind of use our removal to our advantage and the -1 counter synergies to kind of, yeah, just have some fun. So, all right. Hope you guys enjoy your Historic Brawl event. Let me know how you do. And thanks for watching. Until next time, make sure you jank with a purpose.